This video is going to be about positive thinking and the corollaries of it. So there's no plan, so I'm going to stutter a lot, and it's basically inspired by what I saw in a bar just recently, and basically my thinking along this topic for the past, maybe, I don't know, 20 years anyway. Right, so in a bar there recently, I was drinking a coffee, reading my book because I hadn't read in a while, and I noticed that there was a girl basically over complimenting, sounding so American. She had Americanized diction, awesome, over stressing, nice sounding words, saying thank you, like thank you so much, you know, the type, you know, the Valley Girl accent type. Right, and she had fake smiles the whole time, just glebe, pure glebe. Obviously it was a woman, right? And it was agitating the hell out of me because it's so fake. It's just disgusting. It causes a complete annoyance. Yeah, it rankles me to the bone. Okay, I would much prefer being insulted than listening to that. So from the outset, personally, it annoys me. Just positivity, and it's just annoying because it's fake, right? But I'm not here just to talk about why it annoying me. I'm here to talk about the implications of it, why I think it's such a disgusting way of being. It's a destructive way of being. It causes societal collapse. It lays the foundations for communism. It lays the foundations for wokeism. It lays the foundations for just about every social ill you can think of, being easily offended, destroying the atmosphere, not allowing sense of humor, hyper femininity, you know, all those types of things of the modern age. I don't think they actually come from ideologies from Marx and people like that. Most people are too stupid to understand these ideologies. The average person's reading doesn't exist. They read the Sun newspaper. They read, you know, those columns. The girls read magazines. They listen to TikTokers. They listen to pseudo-psychology, pop psychology. They are the biggest influences of society. That's the modern secular religion. And women are listening to that junk all the time, right? So that's why you see mostly women doing this. HR is full of it. You know, gay men in HR as well. It's just pure, vacuous, insipid, meaningless positivity. You know, right? So the whole culture we live in right now, you could say it's like an American empire of fakeness, right? And what's the problem with it? Surely just being happy and fake is not causing any problems. Well, I've already described that it causes me annoyance. It makes me angry, right? And I'm sure there's plenty of other people who don't like it. The reason for that is I like accuracy and honesty no matter how bad it is. Always. I don't like people trying to twist things into it being better than it is or worse than it is. I like to have it described as it is. Always. Right? So first off, that's why it annoys me. Right? Second, it's just a vacuous emotion to feel. It's insipid. There's plenty of research that shows positivity makes you stupid. Like, when people feel positive, they're more likely to try out new stuff. So that's why the capitalists love it. The communists love it because if people feel positive, they're more likely to accept mass immigration. They're more likely to accept whatever totalitarian idea or policy they pump out of the system. So anybody who's in power loves positivity because they know it castrates the people and makes them into eunuchs who won't fight back and fight for better standards. It's what the psychologists call negative emotion that helps people fight for the standards that they deserve. You know, that's not good enough. That's judgmental. That's anger. Your anger is controlled by the society to stop you fighting for a proper system that will reward you of what you're deserving of, right? So the positive people are weak. They're cowards, right? That's one reason they're absolutely destructive and chaotic to society. You know. Okay, so second, it resembles something deep inside them that's weak. They're obviously vulnerable narcissists. Vulnerable narcissism is a weak person's way of getting attention and compliments because they're dependent on it. A strong person doesn't need compliments. They don't need a validation. They don't need "you're a good boy." Yeah, they just do things, right? They don't really exist anymore, those types of people. They are the way they are, whether people appraise of them or not. The weak person is desperate for social approval. If they have bad genetics instead of good ones, good genetics are probably more of a grandiose narcissist, because people like Conor McGregor and Verstappen can say they're great and they're telling the truth, and they can go beyond that. You know. So the weak narcissist has to be indirect. They have to like pretend they're moral when they're not. Give people fake compliments all the time in the hope that they get one in return. Because positive thinking is a modern contraption of a disgusting secular religion, that is what the capitalists pump out. They will take it up and promote it for approval from higher ups, which is another way of being a vulnerable narcissist. They can't survive in this world without the approval of others, without toeing the line. So they're weak, vulnerable narcissists who parrot these ideas and hope to get praised. So that shows that their internal character is just broken. They're putting on this fake smile, fake happy clappy Americanized smile, because they're weak. That smiling makes you weak. Don't smile unless it's real. So that's what they're like. It also ruins the atmosphere, because you know when someone's all positive, you can't have jokes, because jokes are usually truth-based, and positive thinking people don't like the truth. So you can't have jokes around them. Yeah. So that means positive thinking destroys creativity. Absolutely destroys it. Makes the environment feminine. And fake empathy. We have to compliment people. Why do you have to compliment people? Why do you have to give them compliments and smile at them? Well, because they're weak, they think everyone else is weak. So they have to walk around in eggshells because that's how they would like to be treated. They want people to walk around in eggshells around them. Yeah? Okay, this is why they're so easily offended. Positive thinking type of people, they're always offended. So the smile's just to cover up the cracks. Right? So on top of that there, how does it lead to wider societal problems? Well, I taught children, and I've written about this, and I can just tell when their parents have been brain dead, brainwashed, and subjugated by this modern psychology movement, because they want you to praise their children no matter what. You can't discipline their children, you can't tell the children the truth. And then the children, they cry, and the parent comes in and blames the teacher. They take no responsibility, even though they read books that tell them to take responsibility. Spot the irony there. So, what happens when you teach a child of a positive thinking woman? Well, if you try and teach the children or the child intellectual things where the child has to think and has suffering, all suffering leads to improvement. But the positive thinker can't suffer because it always has to be positive. The child will go home to the parent and cry, and the parent will come back to the management and tell you not to teach the child in that way and just play games. So you can't actually teach the child valuable things. It just has to be happy, clappy crap. Yeah. So positive thinking makes people weak. It makes children into pink-haired loony bins, weak, validation-seeking, vacuous, insipid people. Yeah, that can't learn difficult things. This is why the standards keep going down. This is why no one can suffer anymore and continue. They have no grit. I don't like that psychological word, but they can't keep going. They can't suffer through difficult times. Right? So that's what happens when a positive thinking parent has children. They turn them into weak people. Right? But how does it lead to consequences in society at large? Well, positive thinkers don't like reality. So everything has to be positive. If there are local people invading your country, and they're doing stuff to women, like in England with the Rotherham scandal, the grooming scandal, the sexual scandal, the positive thinker will be a coward and will try and say it was something else that it wasn't and defend the rapist, because rather than accepting the truth and the reality of the thing, that you have to have hatred to, have justice. Without justice and envy, without hatred and envy and jealousy, you can't have justice. Hatred is justice. You can't neutralize enemies without hatred and anger. Positive thinking people think, if you think bad thoughts about something else, that makes them bad, or someone else. So they think they're responsible for the other person. So then they refuse to label them what they are and solve the problem. So they're literally condoning rape, the positive thinker. Okay, because they avoid very functional emotions like hatred and anger. They're cowards. Anger is probably the most important emotion, and hatred, for running a society. If you don't have hatred and anger, you can't have a country. Because hatred is what leads to having borders and stuff like that. Hatred is what you need to neutralize the enemy. Okay? When you're under threat, you have to hate. Otherwise, you'll die. So positive thinkers are like lemmings. They can't protect themselves. They leave themselves open. By refusing to see reality, they don't put their guard up, and their head's punched out, and they're knocked out dead. So I don't know anything good. I don't like the word positive, because the word positive is disgusting. And so is negative. They've been highly charged, and they're associated with the religion of mind cure that came out of America in 1870. That was basically when women had nothing to do, and women are anxious, so they have to sit and affirm things all day. And it came out of this Christian Science movement in America, where they just deny reality, and it's spread around the world. So they use the words positive and negative psychology to make it sound scientific, because scientists before, real scientists like chemists, use these words to describe, charge. But you don't even need the words positive and negative to describe charge. You can just say lacking an electron, or having more protons than it should have. It doesn't actually mean, there's no actually, the word posit comes from place in Latin. So the word, whenever an atom lacks an electron, I don't know if that gives an electron. If it lacks an electron, it's positively charged, and if it has an extra electron, it's negatively charged, right? So that has nothing to do with the original meaning of posit, which is place into position, like put forward. You know what I mean? But because it was etched into science, and people associate it with electricity, now people in the psychology movement think, like, they associate this word positive with electrons. Is this like glow in their head? Like, so the word is just destructive as it is. It's not a nice word. So I don't even use it. I use good. That's why I would never say there's nothing positive about positivity, because the word positive is disgusting. There's nothing good about positivity. Positivity as a whole idea is destructive and chaotic, and it should be gotten rid of. People never used to say it back in the day. Now everybody says it. It's replaced the word good, and that's not good, because the word good is attached to morals, which positive is not. The other problem with positivity is it associates good and bad with the emotions only. Your emotions aren't really that moral. They do moral analyses of emotion, but it's not very good. Because any emotion can be moral. It depends on the objective. If your hatred is directed at a despicable enemy, then that's moral, right? But the positive thinking pop psychologists try to say negative emotion is just bad in and of itself, which is untrue. If you feel happy towards evil, you're evil. If you feel bad towards evil, you're good. So the actual so-called balance of emotions is absolutely ineffective. It means nothing. The goallessness of modern psychology and pop psychology makes people exist without objects as feeling things whose morality and self-worth is based on just glowing emotion without end. This is the most vacuous, disgusting, low-life, low IQ way of thinking of a person I've ever seen. Yeah, so why do you think so many, like, low IQ, average IQ, or just in general women, love this modern, despicable religion that's causing so many problems in this country, in every country on this planet? Like, I could list so many more problems, like. If you ever tried to date a positive thinker, you can't say anything, you can't discuss problems. You have to pretend to be happy all the time. That's not a relationship. Positive thinking people can't have joke insults at each other, so they're not really friends. Everything in their life is fake. You know, it's kitsch, it's porcelain, it's plastic coated. It's just fake. These people are absolutely destructive, and they're everywhere now. Like, you even have men pretending to be one of these positive thinking PHAGS just to get their attention, because we know men adopt the religion of the woman to get into their knickers. So now we have these weak men doing it, who will say you're being negative when you talk about truthful things. That's what they're like. Aye. Solutions. Go back to traditional religions. I know they have their problems with this as well, but try and be a realist. Yeah. Like the traditional church, from what I know, supported hatred when it's directed at the enemy, like the Reconquista and all that stuff. So there must be stuff in there that justifies that. Like the Catholic religion is like mixed between thoughts and actions, unlike these Protestant, things, monstrosities that are just all thought. That's where all this disgusting positive thinking came from, Protestant countries. You know what I mean? So I'm sort of finished my rant. This woman in the bar just pissed me off, like fake smiling all the time. Like, why would I want to talk to a person like that? There's nothing to talk about. Like when they ask you questions, did you have a nice time? What did you do nice? What's your favourite? So they don't want to hear anything about your life unless it sounds good to them. You know what I mean? What if you have problems? Are you not supposed to talk about them? What if you had a bad time on holiday? Can you not talk about your bad time? Can you not vent about your bad time and make fun of it? No, you can't. You have to pretend it's nice. So they don't want to hear how your time was. They only want to hear nice words, no matter what. So you can't be yourself. You can't tell the truth around them. Get rid of these people. If you're married or dating one of these positive thinking freaks, now there's a lot of them, you need to fix their minds or get rid of them.